Hello, my name's Dr. Trevor Thompson. I'm one of the teachers in the Bristol Medical School, and I'm here with one of my colleagues, Dr. Louise Uni, to share a little bit about the opportunities for creative arts in the curriculum here. Louise, can you tell us a little bit about what the opportunities are for students in Bristol?
Yes, well, the Year 1 medical students have a GP placement which involves 8 afternoons out seeing patients, and as part of their assignment they have an option to produce a creative piece with reflection based on a home visit that they make to a patient. So they'll listen for about an hour to a patient's story. And they can write a reflective essay or they can do a creative piece, and students have taken that space since 2005 and actually stretched it. So initially we just had a few students doing a written narrative or a poem, and then some students started doing a painting, and then we had music, song, dance, sculpture, photography. So the students have really run with that space.
That reminds me of the opportunities that are available also in the first year for one of our teaching elements, where students can submit creative work as part of their formal assessment for that element. And like you, we've had work in all sorts of media, and we've been consistently amazed at the standard of some of the work that they've done.
Yeah. Which course is that on?
It's called Whole Person Care, and it's one of the main blocks in the first year. What about students who are like really into this stuff and want to take it further? What are the opportunities for them?
Well, in the second year we have a student selected component that students can opt to do, and each year, we've been running that for about 6-7 years. Each year about 12 students have 8 sessions again, which is co-facilitated by myself as a clinician and GP, and we have a variety of arts-based teachers, so art therapist or music therapist. We have a drama session, we've had people from the English literature department, and the students have an opportunity to experience the creative process themselves. They hear about how people are working with patients using the creative process, and they engage in group dialogue and sharing of their creative process and thinking together.
Why might that make somebody a better doctor? How do you see the creativity sort of weaving into the curriculum as a really useful tool?
What I've been discovering in my research is that it develops the capacity for students to understand themselves and become more self-aware. The arts can act as a mirror to see different things about ourselves that we weren't aware of, but also to understand the other and other people's experiences. And that understanding of self and other, I believe, can lead to empathy, rather than just telling students to care for their patients. Instead, we're giving a space for them to really grapple with what they experience when they are with patients, and start from that point and try to develop their understanding.
What have you thought of the standard of some of the art that students do? I mean, have you seen that reflected in the actual artwork itself? I've
been absolutely blown away by the quality and the standard of the work that the students do, and I think it's a sign of their passion and their enjoyment and engagement with this. And the depth of reflection, the two go together. I was going to say, it's not just the artwork that we generally ask for. We ask for the work and their thoughts about the situation, or how they made the artwork in the first place. How do those reflections illuminate the work? When they're using it in their clinical assignments, some of the students will actually do a painting and then talk about how the colours have conveyed a mood, or how the style has conveyed. For example, we had a patient with depression, and the student used the style of Vincent van Gogh, and talked about his. Himself. Yeah, exactly, and talked about it, and an artist that she really enjoyed, and talked about how she'd thought about the colours and the brush strokes and everything to convey her experience with the patient. Could it be a worry for those who are quite confident that they are utterly non-creative, and the last thing they want to do is to be expected, or even in some cases required, to be creative as part of a medical degree? You know, how would you reassure that sort of person? GP teachers have said they've been surprised at students saying they're not creative at the beginning of their attachment, and then doing something fantastically creative. But also, you know, some of the students say that they didn't think they were creative, but they'd try it just to push the boundaries.
Yes.
I know that you've been involved with compulsory creativity for the students.
Yes.
How do you...
Compulsory creativity at Bristol, guys.
How do you...
I don't know. I think that I would like to make a distinction between sort of excellently executed art and perhaps naively executed art, which is trying to depict a really important and poignant experience that the students had. And in terms of how we assess the art, we very much focus on that. You know, how much has this student observed what was going on in that consultation, and how have they tried to express it through the arts? Example that often comes to mind is of someone who does a sort of naive picture of a woman in tears. She's gone to the doctor, and it turns out that she has been requesting a termination of pregnancy, but in the background there's this dark, shadowy figure pointing in the direction of the doctor's surgery, and that of course is the father who's forced her against her will. And we sometimes use this quite naive piece of art as a very poignant illustration of the issues around consent for these like really significant procedures.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not just about the artistry, it's about the situation.
Yeah, so it conveys something really powerful.
Yeah.
And what have the students said? I know you've had some feedback on engaging with compulsory creativity. What do they tend to say about it?
Some of the experiences that we've had is a bit like what you said about people who were quite laddish and yet revealed, had permission to reveal like quite a sensitive side to the character. And quite a lot of the work is humorous as well. There's a big scope for humour here. I just wanted to mention an intercalated programme in the medical humanities where students can study history, English literature and philosophy as applied to medicine. And this isn't really about the creative arts, it's about the arts in the sort of more formal sense and the light that they can shed on medicine. And like in my time as a teacher here, the most passionate feedback I've ever had is from students on this degree saying how much they've enjoyed it and how much a privilege it was to be able to pursue these interests which are so different to the kind of factual burden of medicine. You know, the humanities I think do require a lot of thinking. And in med school I think that's really important, that we keep that curious intellectual edge alive and don't let it become stifled by focusing too much on memorization.